All right. All right, so we're going to talk real quick about our tips and tricks for paint correction. I'm going to go real quickly over some pad options, and obviously, depending on the location, where you're at, what you have access to, this may change a little bit, colors, brands, etc. But basically, you're going to have a microfiber cutting pad. This is a Meguiar's microfiber pad. This is going to have your most cut of a pad for a dual action orbital polisher. After that, you're going to have firm, this is very, very firm foam. So this is for like heavy cutting of a foam pad. And then you're going to have polishing pads. This one, I apologize, it's the one I found. It's trashed again, but it's a Meguiar's finishing polish pad. So the colors change depending on the brand. Some polishing pads are black, some are white, some are yellow. Medium will be orange or burgundy often, and then the heavy cutting pads will range from white to blue to green. Ultimately, you just need to read or be told what particular pad is being used. We are going to be polishing this. I know it looks beautiful already. However, there are still some micro abrasions and things that we're getting out of this surface to make it immaculate. So what I have done, the surface is all prepared. Watch the previous video. We've got the surface ready to go. We're using a diminishing abrasive compound. So it's a medium to light compound, and it's a diminishing abrasive. So it is going to break down into a nice fine polish. I'm going to use 3 like pea-sized dollops. So for those of you who don't eat vegetables, that's how big it is. Okay, so 3 little dollops on the pad, and you're always going to make sure that your speed is set to the lowest so that you can spread it out on the surface. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. Hopefully this audio still stays good. I've not tried this yet. So we're going to spread this out on our working area, which typically is going to be about a 2 foot by 2 foot area. And just in case that kills the audio, I'm going to stop for just a second. So depending on the curvature of the surface, all of that stuff, you can adjust your working space accordingly. But you're usually going to want to be about a 2 foot by 2 foot square section. Spread it out on a low speed so you don't sling it everywhere. And then you're going to crank your speed up. I'll keep talking as I polish this. Hopefully it gets all the audio, but basically the idea is you want to spread the product evenly and then crank the speed up to heat it up as well as work it into the surface. And we're going to be doing a cross-hatch pattern, which again is that back and forth across motion to make sure that we're covering all the area. So I'll go ahead and do that now. So for me, I'm using a Rupes. This is my Old Faithful. It's the Rupes 15, so it's got a 15 millimeter throw to it, which means that as I'm polishing, the head of the polisher is throwing or traveling out from the center an additional 15 millimeters, which gives it, that's how we're able to get that perfect finish. That's how you're able to use it and not burn the paint. So that's what we're doing, and you can see as I'm working this in, hopefully you can see that the haziness starts to go away, and what we have is the product begins to become opaque or clear. And that's how I know that I am working it all the way to the end of its life, getting those polishing abrasives to break down into their finest form. This has no oils or like waxes in it, so that is really nice for prepping for a ceramic coating. We're still going to do our pre-coat to make sure that there's nothing left in the surface, but what that means is there's nothing hiding. This is not giving me a fake surface. What I see here is legitimately what I have achieved. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but basically this area where we did now is completely free of microabrasions, scratches. It is literally a mirror finish in this area, except for where I missed some residue. So that's polishing, that's compounding. If we're doing multiple steps, we're going to start, you saw those pads we had, you're going to start with a heavier pad, you're going to work out the imperfections, and then you're going to step down. One little last tip here is there is kind of this, if you can think of the like scales of justice, there's this balance of what product you're using and what pad you're using. So you can use a heavier product on a lighter pad, kind of levels out, right? You can use a lighter pad, heavier product, levels out. Finding the nice blend of a product that's giving you the result that you want and the pad that's helping you do it, and ultimately leaving the best surface, that's a game that is fun to play, but also can be time consuming. So if you have someone who has done a lot of paint correction in the shop with you, or if you're doing this at a client location, just go ahead and ask them. Say, hey, you know, what do you think? Here's the result I got. Should we use a heavier cut compound? Should we use a different pad? And save yourself a bunch of time. You'll learn as you go, obviously, but just keep that in mind. Pads are going to be different, products are going to be different, and they're going to kind of even out to some extent. So there you go, tips and tricks on polishing and paint correction.